Drizzle on the window, coffee in my hand. Morning starts so slowly in our sleepy land. Raindrops keep on dancing, rhythm soft and slow. Warmth inside this cafe where dreams come and go. Coffee on a rainy day, bringing light to cloudy gray. Sip away the blues and stay. Coffee on a rainy day. Faces passing by me, strangers on their way. In my little corner, hope they find their day. Steam that curls.
Welcome to Once Upon a Stitch Nook. So we are continuing to work on my crochet picture book. So last we left off, we had developed quite a bit of the design for the main character. It's going to be throughout the stories, Yarnetta. And offhand, I don't know where I put the colored versions, but I finished the main concept for her. Started working on one of the children, but I'm not quite settled with the style for them, but we're getting there. So today I wanted to fine-tune and figure out the 3 children that are going to be in the story. So at least that is where we're going to start today, and then we'll see if we'll even attempt one of the official pages, or at least some concepts for the pages. But first off, I'm going to look on Pinterest for some children references and poses that I kind of want to play with, and then just start doodling. Alright, I had hoped that when I came back with an update, I was going to be like, oh, here, I basically have the designs down, but I'm not quite there yet. So I'm going to show you what I do have so far. So I was playing with the youngest boy because I did have an image for him in my head, and it changed a bit as I worked on this. I initially thought of just this very little round face. He was going to be blonde, and his thing is he loves cookies. That's going to be a little bit of a gimmick throughout the story. So you kind of see me, I tried making him eat a cookie there, but the sizing was off. And this was kind of it, but something about this looks too old. And this is closer. And then this is more giving the vibes. I kind of swapped him from having, because this, initially I was basing him off of a beautiful illustration of The Little Prince that I had seen and was inspired by. So I was like, okay, let me get that down, and then I'm going to drift away from that. Because so initially I was like, oh, maybe Yarnetta made him a scarf that fits, but it was too close to the Little Prince. And I was like, oh, I remember thinking about him having overalls. So that became a consistent thing that I'm pretty sure of. And also, instead of blonde, I see him as being freckled with very orange hair. So a little redhead. So this is getting close. This is a little off, but also close. So here you see him eating a cookie. And his hair kind of has a little bit of a curl to it. And that's a different illustration. And then since his thing was having cookies, I was like, oh, well, should he be a little tubby? I didn't want him to be obese. He is a very active child, I think. But, you know, to have a little more realistic body proportion, again, represent a bit of children who are heavier. And so I gave him a little more of a tummy, a little thicker neck and limbs. I kind of like it. I am leaning that way, just like a little bit of tub. And so here you kind of see not quite on point yet, but we're getting the vision. Here, ignore this. He's weirdly proportioned. The body should have been shifted. But so that's how far I am with him. So I'm still like getting down some details and proportions on him, but I think I have the vision down because I did have an idea for him. Now the oldest child, other than I thought he might be like African leaning or ethnic in some way. I knew I wanted him to be a darker boy, and he's going to be the oldest boy. I didn't have much of an idea for him, and I wanted him to look a little, I I kind of needed to decide necessarily which way to go. So I was kind of leaning African or kind of Mexican leaning or Hispanic. But I kind of kept going to, when I was drawing the thumbnails, he kept having this curly hair, which I also was considering, oh, am I thinking he's Jewish? Maybe we'll go that direction, but I like the big round afro hair. He has here, and I wanted his clothes when I was looking up some references. This is a bit of a whimsical little, cottage in the woods kind of story. So they're a little more, we're leaning a little classic fantasy leaning. So I didn't want modern clothes, but I wanted something that represented a little more stylistically what African American boys wear, and they seem to like looser clothes. So I was thinking also, sorry, a truck was going by. I don't know how much that got caught on the mic. But so I like the idea of having him longer, looser shirt and maybe looser shorts to kind of match that. But I also didn't know, I was like, do I want him to have a scarf? Here I give him a vest, which I kind of like. Here he kind of has a hat that could be very obviously crocheted, which is an option. Again, the loose shirt. But we kind of lose the hair. And when I did a poll, people did say keep the afro hair. And so here we have other ones. I was like, oh, I could maybe give him a band. He's looking a little too sportsy here. This one I do like, and I was playing again with some more, it's all kind of, peasant or ethnic, but I don't really have quite a clear identity for this village in general. While I want them to be more diverse, I don't have a clear like style or kind of embroidery that I would do on. So this is just kind of something generic that you would have a little tunic and again the loose clothes. I like it, but again, I think I need to flesh out a little more of the lore of the village before I know what stylistically he might wear it, which would need to be consistent with the other children as well. Here is what I'm leaning towards a bit. I do like him. He still has a bit of the curly hair, but a little more tapered in. I like his little bushy eyebrows, and then he gets a little bit of a buck tooth. But he does look younger, whereas this one gives me that older vibe where he's a little bit more of a no-nonsense yet attitude kind of kid. I was playing with the idea of maybe giving him another characteristic that kids could vibe with. I like the hair, but not the glasses as much, and people said no glasses. So I'm leaning between 1, 2, and 3 here. He had the least clear vision in my head, so I've been playing more with his visuals. So that's still quite up in the air. But oh, and I did a little bit more of the girl. Where is she? But I didn't get too far. So if you recall, I had these of her, and then I was just trying to simplify it a little bit more. So this is giving the right vibe here. Here she looks off. Here I was just playing with the eyes a little bit, but they're not quite right. And I'm also leaning toward just possibly making her Asian, because I had the visual of having her have a bob hair and the bow. But other than that, I kept considering should she be Asian or not. I don't know. So that's kind of up in the air because I'm struggling so much with getting her eyes the way I want them to be young looking that I'm wondering if I need to really change. I was considering scrapping her design entirely and doing something else. But I'm going to try to see if she gets the vibe I wanted with Asian eyes. Because again, maybe closer to this where I had it taper in a little more. And maybe a little smaller. I don't know. If not, we might change her design entirely. So we will see. So that's where I'm at now. So that was a big rambly thing to say. I don't have too much done yet. Okay, so I think this will be kind of the last segment for this video, but I want to kind of give you a little insight into my headspace with this. So, to go over, I have more or less concluded designs for the characters, which is what I kind of need to do pre-starting the official sketches, along with the thumbnails, which we've already done well at to this point. Let's see, where are they? I've shown you most of them, so we're going with like this look for the oldest boy, and I kind of got his faces down here pretty well. But here he was looking a little too old, and also the eyes are wrongly slanted, so I'm ignoring that. This was a potential other option for him, but it was also making him look a little too old, or I just wasn't consistent with making him look young enough like these two when we're doing the front face. So that was a bit of an issue. Here you see I kind of put them together to get kind of an idea for them. We've already talked about the younger boy. Here I took a scene from the book to get an idea of what I wanted, if it looked right. And so it came down to the girl was looking the most generic out of all of them. So the two boys look pretty distinct. Yarnetta is distinct, and she was just looking kind of bland by comparison at that point. So my mom suggested at least changing up her a little bit more to give her some more distinct features. So let's see. So here you kind of see I did these earlier sketches of her, and then we're shifting her. She's going to be an Asian girl, which I was already shifting into, but she's going to have straighter hair instead of the poofy kind of almost, she's kind of reminding me of Minnie Mouse for some reason here. So she's going to have straighter hair pulled back into a smaller bow. So less foo-foo girly, kind of how I have her here. And I changed up her dress a little bit where she'll have a little flower vest, I think, and then a, again, less poofy. So kind of, she's going very straight. She's going angular in her design. She's going to have a little, oh, actually, I put a bunny here, but I don't think it can be a bunny due to the story. So she'll have a stuffed animal that she carries with her. Here, she's more or less good on the front. I think her eyes need to come a little more closer together, maybe, right? But I like her. I think she's really cute. So just a little more distinct there. So we are good on our character designs. And so you saw me earlier. Unfortunately, a lot of it was out of frame. I started at the first page, if you will. And so there will be also something going on here, but if it will show, right now it's just a light sketch. It's Yarnetta thinking and looking concerned. And this, I chose to do a page that is mostly Yarnetta, since she's the one I'm most comfortable with at this point, as well as is one, I wanted something more in the middle of the story, so we're not going to have a by the time I get more comfortable drawing these characters, I can do some of the earlier pages and kind of mix it up so it's not as, you don't see a progression of them becoming more consistent towards the end and they seem like different characters. As well as I just wanted a simple piece that I don't mind redoing if I need to. So I was realizing I get very, very stuck when it's my story, because it kind of just has to be good enough. It just kind of has to work and meet deadlines when I'm doing it for someone else, and it's within the confines that they set. Whereas I have endless possibilities. For myself, I keep saying, well, do I want to do line art on this? Is this really the character I want? Is she not looking as I have her in my head? It could be either more characterful or more soft, or there's so many options I have in my head, and whatever I'm going to put down is never going to be that. And I really have to get out of my head with it. So I was like, okay, just start. And again, start with something I don't mind scrapping if I need to. And I don't know if you can see, but this does have a border. So what I do, I decided to do square pages. And since I mostly have worked in square pages, where's the book? What I do at this point when I illustrate is I will outline the square using the books I already have, because they also have a little extra according to at least KDP guidelines. I have some other books from Ingram Sparks and elsewhere, and so that gives me a good idea of kind of what's going to be within the bounds, and also gives me an idea of margins. So essentially I could expand this if I keep coloring out word or such. And so that's why you see kind of she goes outside. Well, you maybe don't see, but she goes outside the lines. But as well, for this story, what's going to happen is it's going to have a lot of white space. So this is not going to be full color. So she's going to be a pop here, and then there's going to be a pop here of the illustration, and the rest of it is going to be white and text, or whatever color I choose to do for the background. I've done this once before. No, twice before. Let's see. I've done it for this book, so you see the illustrations kind of pop, and occasionally we get something like this where there's a lot of color, but here I just kind of have it half a page. It's never a full page. And what we also did was put a little color behind the text to kind of add a little fun. So things like that. And then my other book, first book I did in that style, which I really love. It's a bit older and just more, I guess, what I'm shooting for. So you see a bigger illustration here, about half a page. Then we have what are called the spot illustrations, which are just where white will usually surround them. And so like so, and then here, and then it's fun because you can play with the elements and how they work with the text. So the text here is working around the illustration, which is really fun. And so I love this in the illustrations and the style. So that's what I'm going to be doing for this story. And this is the first one I'll be doing it in a square. So that's a little interesting. So just to give you some context and some of what I'm thinking. And so since I overthink it, and since I have such a perfectionist idea in my head, and I really don't feel I'm at the level I want for the book I have in my head, but unfortunately I just need to make the book. So we're going ahead, and so I started this page. Since I don't quite know exactly what I want here, I'm leaving that blank. And also, why I wanted to talk about the white space is often based on what page I'm using. Some of the pages will have more going on, like this one here. But like what I'm going to do right now is one where it's just, again, Yarnetta. And so Yarnetta, I can just make her, and then I can place her digitally wherever. I can make her bigger, I can make her smaller, I can make her come off of the page. So I don't necessarily always need to have the framing. Sometimes it's good just to get an idea of what I want. So here is an old illustration I did just kind of for funs. I was playing with a different method, and so it's a girl crocheting in these botanicals. There's cute kitties, there's yarn, there's a teacup, things like that. So I've had this in here for a while. So I'm going to be working off the back of the page so I don't waste it. And I'm going to be working off of that. So that's enough explanation. Let's get into the last work we're going to do for this video. And we're finally getting to actually working on the book sketches that are going to be the official illustrations. So whatever you can make out of that, this is the sketch so far. So I will go in with more details later, but I basically have the base down. The main issue was I kept looking for references. I kept looking for sword references to get this foreshortening of the arm right, which I'm still not sure it is, even though I followed it pretty closely. The hand is different. So I may take a reference picture of myself as close to this pose as I can, but it's always going to be a little weird. And I think the hand needs to be even bigger. But it's a good base. I'm going to leave it as is for now. I find it gets dangerous when I overwork things. So I have a base. So we have that one. We have this one. I also touched up her face a little bit here. I feel like I need to exaggerate the face even more because she's supposed to be really kind of excited here, and something feels a little off. That's not quite right for her. I think the eyes need to be rounder, maybe. So I will come back to this later, I think. And it's always difficult for me when it's at a scale I'm not used to working at. But yeah, so we have these two done already. Today I might do one more base illustration. If I do that, I'll try to get a clip of that. But I think we're pretty good for now. So we basically concluded the character designs, and we are starting on some of the page illustrations. And you see here I was considering doing a different illustration that involved the couch. But I'm going to go back to that later because I definitely need to find a better reference. So yeah, and so I'll do some details on these later. And we will just continue this journey of creating a crochet storybook picture book. So I hope you'll stay tuned. Definitely give me any ideas of kind of crochet items to include. I will go over the story more in future episodes, but for now, this was just very designy kind of video. Thanks for watching.